Hello, my name is Austin Lambert, and welcome to the next edition of Austin Weekend. Here is Dad, and today we are going to tackle the third movie in the Cars franchise from Disney Pixar.
Yeah, not Cars 1, not Cars 2, but Cars
3.
Cars 3. Which sort of takes up right
After
Cars 2. They sort of happen in sort of a timeline, don't they?
Yeah, that's kind of like Pixar does. They did it with the Toy Story movies.
Yeah.
So
And they sort of brought back the exact same characters that was in Cars 1.
I think this one was kind of more faithful to the first one than the second one was. The second one was a spy movie, which with Cars, I didn't really get that.
Yeah, well, they tried to make it more entertaining, more interesting. I like Cars 3. They did go back to the basic roots. This is just a
Racing movie.
This is a racing movie. This is a NASCAR racing movie. Is all it is, and it's basically the story of
Lightning McQueen.
coming of age.
Do you know what's funny? I think the first movie started with the same lines that Lightning McQueen did in Cars 3, like, I am speed. He said that in the first lines.
I am speed. Yeah. So, this is about Lightning McQueen getting older. Basically, this is what this is about. And we won't tell you the whole story. You might have watched it by now, but then you might have not, so we won't spoil it for you.
But we can tell you, like we mentioned before, that this is more faithful to the first movie.
Yeah, this is, goes back and digs up again some of the original racing legends from old, and sort of pays homage to the older racers, some people that paved the track for them to race on earlier. So,
and everybody from Radiator Springs is back, and it's fun as usual, especially Tom Mater, which
everybody's favorite is Mater,
and I think he's one of the more underrated Disney characters.
Now, he's an all-time character. I mean, you could just say, hey, you know who Mater is, don't you? Everybody knows who Mater is.
Tow Mater.
Yeah.
Voiced by Larry the Cable Guy.
And it's funny because he's a tow truck. So he's Tow Mater. Tow Mater. Yeah, well, he's just as funny in this one as he was in the first one. He's good.
And I like that he supports Lightning throughout all the movie.
Yeah, they remain best buds. No matter what else happened, they remain best buds throughout all the movies, and he's still his best bud in this movie. So yeah.
And with all of that aside, let's get to the plot. What do you think about it?
I thought it was a good story. It is a little predictable. That's the only thing that I had with it. About 2/3 of the way through the movie,
you kind of knew what was
you
gonna
sort
happen.
of knew what was going to happen in the end of it. So, but that didn't take away from the story of what it was. It was a good story. Like I said, they just made it a little predictable. You could see the road they were taking. Like I said, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, you could see where it was going. But it was a good story.
That's the only argument I have with the movie too. I think like if it could have been a little less predictable and a little less, predictable.
Predictable, yeah. What you think about the characters?
Oh, the characters! I think they were just as fun as they were in the first movie. I think.
And they've sprinkled in a new few characters for you to hate. Just a few new bad guys for you to hate on. So
just for the purpose of the plot.
Just for the purpose of the plot, yeah. But the new characters that were sprinkled in were good characters too, though. Some of them were bad characters, but they were good original characters. So it didn't take away from the story. It added to the story, so it was good.
And what do you think about the writing? That's an important part of any movie, is like the writing quality.
Like I said, the story was good. It was just a little predictable. The characters were just as good as the first movie, I thought.
Here's where Pixar usually shines in the animation.
Yeah, it was really top-notch animation.
You couldn't expect anything less from Pixar.
You can't get much better than what Pixar does with their animation now. They're sort of the king of the mountain as far as the animation quality goes in their movies. At least in my opinion, they are.
Yes.
Great animation. Great special effects.
And here's a fun fact. This movie was released in Kannapolis, North Carolina, almost 1 month, maybe a few days off, before getting released all across the states.
It had a pretty big budget too, didn't it? What was the budget?
$175 million.
That's a lot of money. $175 million to make a cartoon.
And surprisingly, it went over the budget at $286.5 million.
Yeah, imagine, hey, it's going to cost $175 million to make this movie, but we're going to make $100 million in profit on it. What the crap?
Speaking of profit, Cars is probably one of the most profitable franchises Disney has had.
Yeah, I sort of look at Cars. It's a good trilogy, and I doubt very much that they'll make another one after the end of this movie.
It's not Kung Fu Panda.
No, now Kung Fu Panda is probably one of the best trilogies that's ever been made cartoon-wise, but it's still a good trilogy. Tells a good story, lovable characters, great animation. You can't say anything about it. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a pretty good movie though. It's a pretty good movie. I like it better than the second one.
Yeah, that's what I can agree with.
The third one is more loyal to the original basis and original feeling of what Cars is.
Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Cars 2 had it was centered around spies and not much about racing as it is about spies.
Racing around the world in the spy story.
Yeah, but I think they need to stick with the racing. That was
Cars
the
3
first one.
is racing. It's just about racing, nothing else but racing.
And this is what the movie promises, and that's what the movie gives you.
Mm-hmm.
A story about Lightning McQueen racing.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to go ahead and do a rating for it and explain to the people how we do a rating?
Okay.
In case they haven't seen, we go 1 through 10. We don't use 4 and stars and
typical critic stuff.
We like to give you a wide range of what it might be, 1 through 10, to give you a more specific rating. And we don't use stars. We use stuff from the movies that are popular, like Kung Fu Panda loved dumplings.
Dumpling time! Dumpling time! Dumpling time!
So we rated Kung Fu Panda using dumplings because he loved dumplings so much. So what do you want to pull from Cars 3 to rate it with?
Left turns.
Left. Are you going to use mufflers?
Oh, mufflers.
Rusty's was his sponsor there, so you don't rust.
Yeah.
We use mufflers. 1 muffler is horrible muffler.
Crappy muffler.
Crappy mufflers. 10 mufflers being the best thing ever. How many mufflers would you give Cars 3?
It's definitely somewhere in between the 8 range.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking too. Right at that 8 range. Right about an 8. It could be a 7.8. It could be an 8.2, but
it's definitely somewhere in between that.
Yeah, it just depends on how much you like Cars, how much you like the animation of Cars and that storyline in that series. I definitely recommend watching it, especially if you've seen the first 2. You have to watch part 3 because it sort of puts a bookend on the whole Lightning McQueen story. So it's good. Mm-hmm.
And is this any surprise? This is coming from the company that saved children's entertainment, Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And a name that everybody knows and a name that everyone trusts.
Mm-hmm.
So why should we be surprised?
Yep. All right. Be sure and keep on tuning in. We got some more stuff coming up. We got Despicable 3 that we haven't rated yet.
Despicable Me 3.
Despicable Me 3. And we got some more new movies coming out. We got some cartoons we're going to do.
We've got some Dexter's Lab.
We're going to do a little Dexter's Lab rating on that classic cartoon and some more stuff. So be sure and click the like button. Be sure and click the subscribe button.
Hit the groovy baby button.
Be sure there will be a groovy baby button.
Hopefully.
Hang on to the end of the show here. There will be a groovy baby button right over here. Hopefully there will be one. But other than that, I think that we're out. Hey, leave us a comment or ask us to rate a show for you. Other than that, we're out. Vroom vroom.
See you next week. Don't take any right turns.
Left only.